I don't know how many times you've been on the show now.
Twice. So this would be my third, I think.
That's it?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, I must do some repeats because I've seen your face pop up on our feed a lot.
I'm face that keeps on giving.
Well,
voice. Yeah.
Todd Hanley, this is our first interview in your new role with Watershed Management.
Yeah, Watershed Management Group.
Okay. Is that
tomato, right?
Is that different? Is there like a watershed? Are you guys like in a battle with a Watershed Management?
We sent out a cease and desist letter just a few days ago. No, just kidding.
Okay. So like,
no, but for those viewers
for the group.
and I guess listeners, they got to know Watershed Management Group.
Okay.
WMG, baby.
All right. Well, that kind of ties into everything that you and I have ever talked about.
This is true. Yes.
Even
anything good, by the way.
Okay.
Everything good, by the way.
When you were at Hotel Congress and running the show over there, so much of what you were doing was focused on conservation, not just water, but just in general conservation.
Yeah, always been a passion of mine. Hotel Congress is an outlet for just as many ways to minimize the impact from food to heat, electricity to water to just basic recycling that everybody can do a better job of. Yeah, I've proud of the time spent at Hotel Congress and the conservation that I started. So thanks for recognizing that.
Oh, well, then, when you announced that you were moving on, initially I was a little surprised because, you're like a fixture for me at Hotel Congress because that's how I've always known you. But then when I found out where you were going, I was like, okay, that's no surprise at all. That's your bailiwick. That's your passion.
Yeah, it would have. I needed to make a change no matter what, but there was no way I was going to go from one hospitality situation to another. That was just never going to fill my bucket, nor just ultimately, make me happy, because conservation, environment has been something I've been very passionate about for 20 years.
Well, I do want to transition in a moment into the Agave Heritage Festival because that's coming up and there's definitely a connection to all this, but just kind of catch me up. Like I understand the basic concepts of Watershed Management Group.
Yeah.
But I don't fully understand. I didn't realize you were telling me some of the things that you do. And I was kind of surprised that you were so involved.
Yeah. Symbolically, when you think of Watershed Management and Watershed Management Group, especially, our nonprofit, you think of rainwater harvesting, whether or not it's active through cisterns or passive just through kind of how you manage your landscape, earthworks from little swales, which are a fancy term for, little ditches, if you will, to berms, which are mounds of dirt. But really, it's an educational organization focused on the broader context of sustainable desert living. But we do a lot of work on policy and advocacy, not me personally, but the co-founders, Lisa and Catlow Shipek, husband and wife, they are visionaries in terms of a lot, but specifically and lately, drought mitigation, drought management, drought tracking. We are doing things that the municipalities aren't doing. We're monitoring shallow groundwater in the Tango Verde and the Rito and the Sabino. I mean, we're doing a lot of things because you can't monitor drought by just one metrics, Lake Mead. I mean, you can't monitor droughts without action. So they founded a small collaboration of 40 different organizations called the Santa Cruz Watershed Collaborative. But so I guess kind of digressing back, Watershed Management Group is an educational organization around sustainable desert living. The symbol is water to a degree, but it's also what to plant, where to plant it, how you use compost, how we cool our cities, because obviously this urban heat effect is a real challenge for everybody. Marginalized communities that have 1/10 the number of trees as other communities that are out there. So it's an organization that is trying to shift individual behaviors that leads to groups, that leads to communities, that leads to states and regions. I like to say it's, trying to move a paradigm shift to understanding that living in a desert is unique and special. So here's what you need to do a better job of.
And the founders of this, then they are from this region. You said they went to the University of Arizona. I mean, they graduated.
They graduated. Yep. Yeah. So they're actually Catlow from Sierra Vista. So yes, he is from the region. Lisa, his wife, she's from the East Coast. They met in undergrad at a school in St. Louis, Missouri, but then they came to U of A for grad and started with a few other individuals, Watershed Management Group in 2003.
Okay. Oh, 20. Oh, man, that's
22 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's pretty wild. I mean, it's really kind of, and it's surprisingly receives a lot of great public relations, but still, it's a niche organization that we're trying to grow in terms of awareness.
It's interesting when you, I guess for me, you hear terms or you hear, I heard the name of the company, I kind of knew what it was, but now as I think about it, Watershed Management, I mean, that really is kind of the essence of what they started was how to mitigate this loss of water. It was about how to control the loss of.
I mean, where we're sitting is within a watershed. Santa Cruz is probably a quarter of a mile.
Okay. So I was completely making that up then. So watershed is a official term.
Yeah, no, it's an actual term for.
I thought it was I was giving it some kind of philosophical spin on it, like. But water.
I mean, I would say it could be both I guess.
This is how much research I do for the show, by the way.
It's okay.
That's the extent of it.
Think about, where does water start? Well, I mean, it starts from above. It starts not just at, the top of the mountains, but it's also above through clouds. And so Watershed Management Group is about the totality of how we are impacted by aspects of precipitation, snow melt, rain, which obviously leads to aquifers. You could even make a case effluent water as a process that needs to be managed. So one of our themes is we are one watershed. Like, again, it's a physical space, a place. Your watershed currently is Santa Cruz. I have Arroyo Chico as my quote unquote watershed. So it can be as big as a Santa Cruz River or small as a little Arroyo Chico.
That's how little I know. I did not know that watershed was a location.
Yeah.
I thought it was a verb.
Well, let me say something. This is totally off. Do you know nouns can be a person, place, thing, or idea?
Yes.
Blow your mind. Oh, really? You know it was an idea?
Yeah.
I never knew when idea is a thing, it's like very abstract to me. So my sixth grader just taught me that. So you didn't prepare. I didn't take sixth grade English very seriously.
They came us for those sixth graders. We wouldn't know what we're doing.
No, truly, man. She's helped me learn a lot about how, we'll digress.
But the conversation we're having, though, it's very interesting to me because even though it's in a new venue and I'm sure you're dealing with it at a different level, this conversation is not new. Every time I talk to you, this is the conversation. And that's what got me, I think, more involved with understanding what the Agave Heritage Festival was. Because that, for me, originally, I think we talked about it was like
tequila.
It was like hey, let's make us some cool drinks.
Limes and salt.
But you've always had this conservation aspect of the agave.
Yeah. I mean, really, I'm working for Watershed Management Group because of the Agave Heritage Festival. I won't go into the story. It's not an exciting story, but agaves are ubiquitous with Southern Arizona. They're native, they're wild, they're cultivated, they're 60% more water efficient. They're drought tolerant. They can exist without really any water, depending upon, how mature they are when we go into a drought like we are. And it's a source of food. It's a source of fiber, that you can use to make bags, sandals, brushes for your, scrubbing your body. But most people think of it as mescal, and actually most people think of it as tequila, but tequila is a mescal. I want to remind you that all tequilas are mescals, but not all mescals are tequila.
There we go. Hopefully your sixth grader didn't teach you that.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's not, you learned that on your own.
Yeah,
hopefully.
I learned that on my own. It took me a few years to figure it out. Yeah. So mescal basically means roasted agave. So any type of spirit that comes from a cooked agave is considered mescal, even if it's a terribly industrialized cooking mechanism, which we don't want to talk about or shed light on, because those are the bad guys.
Well, and you talked about the utilitarian and the practical uses, but the things that I've learned through the festival and the research is that it's also a social and a cultural connection as well. I mean, these are revered plants for generations.
Yeah, great point. I mean, I often put that, a little bit behind the conservation because I'm a little bit more passionate about that, but it's more a cultural phenomenon, obviously Mexico, than anything, but it's a socioeconomic, it's a agricultural, but it's, to a lot of individuals in Mexico, it's a part of their daily life. It's their existence. So yeah, great point. That's why the mission statement talks about sustainability, culture, and gosh, what's the other one? I can't even remember. My brain is completely fried,
So
we'll get there. Oh, commercial. Yeah. Cause unfortunately the money does make the world go around. And if we can use it for the betterment of our community, then we can be happy with commercial. But good point.
So I mean, where are we with the festival? Because it's had like an identity crisis. You were at the tequila contest, and then you were like a month-long celebration.
Yeah.
and then it was just like, there's different lengths. Like where are we now?
It is staying the same. It's 4 days, 3.5 if you consider Sunday is a little bit of a shorter day, but 3 days, April 10th through April 13th. So Thursday through Sunday. It's streamlined this year, which is for me just a way of making sure that I don't put so much out there that the consumer is, frozen with what the choices are.
Right.
Because I've heard that quite a bit over the last couple of years. To your point, pre-COVID, it was literally at one point, I think 14 days. Yeah. It was kind of foolish. And then COVID had everybody.
I don't know if it was foolish. I just think it was a different, you were focusing on a broad range of topics, and it's hard for someone that's not 100% committed to that to really participate in 14 days worth of activities.
Yeah. Great point. I mean, I guess foolish from the consumer perspective, but it was rooted in, because it started as a Cinco de Mayo, it was both the last weekend in April to distance yourself from Cinco de Mayo and have the real culture and education and conservation, and then take advantage of Cinco de Mayo when everybody's out having fun.
Yeah.
So, but now we're 4 days, 3.5 days, whoever's counting. And it's still, I think, as unique a festival within the West as anything. I really believe that in my heart. And,
well, people come from all over the world to participate in this. And it's, I mean, just refresh my memory, because I know there's food and alcohol involved.
Sure.
But there's also the other components that we talked about are highlighted.
Yeah, I would say there's 32, 33 events, give or take. Probably half of them are free to, almost free, because it's educational and conservation based. And then the other half is the community engagement through food and drink. I mean, to me, it's, as everybody knows, the best way to have great dialogue while you're sitting, sipping on whatever your choice of beverages. Can be a prickly pear mocktail if you so choose. But that's where the real magic happens, is when people start to come together as a community. And more than anything, I hope leave with a broader understanding, like you said, of this plant is not just agriculture, not just a spirit, but really it's a cultural phenomenon that we are very lucky to have in our backyard.
Yeah, and I think the connections to our ancestors and those that have come before us, that's always something that I don't know if it gets lost in general, but I think it's so important that we just keep reminding that we're sustaining ourselves off of, the legacy of the same plants that were sustaining generations before us.
And because I am not one to practice what I preach, but that's just me. But, the agave in general is this kind of symbol of slow growth, adapt to the environment, basically the antithesis of our current society, which is instant gratification, fast. And so I think for me, it's some kind of cosmic way of hopefully the world saying every once in a while, Todd, slow down,
Your moment of Zen.
my moment of Zen, right? I mean, so, but there's so much more to the festival from the perspective of it's highlighting, and it's this city of gastronomy. I hesitate to go there because I don't want to shortchange the city of gastronomy and UNESCO in terms of boiling it down to agave or restaurants. It's a broader context, but I think it does help show people that our designation as a city of gastronomy is rooted in such a diverse aspect of our region. And agriculture is a huge part of it, but agave was a part of it.
Yeah, and I think if you look at the application and the information that came out when that award, all the things you're talking about were part of it, not just our great current restaurants, but that connection to that history in the past. But on the festival, just as we're kind of wrapping up here, where you got 33 or so events over 3.5 or 4 days, depending on
who's counting,
on whether you round up or not.
I guess,
Talk to your sixth grader about whether we round that day or not. But where do people get in for? Is it at all or nothing pass? Can you buy for events?
Great question. Thank you. Go to our website. It's www.agaveheritagefestival.com, and they're all there. I finally have made the next step. It's both in English and Spanish, which is a very logical and important step forward. But that's where you can find everything. Everything is a la carte. We have it broken down into tasting events, agave culture events, bar takeover events, and dinners. So there is literally something for everybody. Probably one of the most important parts of the festival that I could, be so bold as to shout out is we are in year 3 of a new part of the festival called the Agave Renaissance Summit. And it's a group of basically 100 or so different practitioners within this large industry, if you will, from farmers to ecologists, to academics, to scientists, to brand owners, to producers of the spirits. We all know the challenges of our current water system, our current water realities. That's impacting Sonora. I mean, in particular. So how do we, with meaningful change, impact the sustainability, both economically and environmentally, of this plant, this industry, but without sacrificing what you said very eloquently a few minutes ago, was the culture of it. I mean, there's a lot going on within the agave industry, not just tequila mezcal, but the Agave Renaissance Summit is going to become one of the keystone events. It is one of the keystone events, but a lot of people are bringing their bartenders to actually be a part of the summit because it's free, but it's a wonderfully in-depth conversation about all aspects of this particular plant in this region and how we can make it.
I would really encourage people just to take even if you can't absorb 3.5 days of information, take an event and learn something, expand that knowledge a little bit. And just, I want to leave on this note because I think you and your team deserve some kudos because I think this gets lost. Your website is Agave Heritage Festival.
Yep.
It's not Tucson Agave Heritage Festival. It's not the Southwest. It's like you have that name and you are driving this effort. I know there's other celebrations, but this one is becoming the premier. If it's not already, it's becoming the premier event. Yeah.
And I'm just going to shout you out because you're so
I love
smart,
that.
man. My goodness. I want to end on this. It's agaveheritagefestival.com. It's not mescalheritagefestival.com. It's agave. It's a much broader festival that really is critical to the future of Southern Arizona, the future of our binational relationship with Mexico, because we're 45 minutes away. I'm proud of it. And there's been so many people to help lift it up. I mean, people that have done so much more than I have, so much smarter than I have, truly. But I was lucky. I was passionate about not just being a margarita championship event almost 20 years ago, and here we are today.